Okay, welcome to the Monday edition of 15 Minutes of Positivity. Again, quick reminder, why do we do what we're doing here? Well, we get together because if we intentionally and deliberately practice certain skills and thereby stimulate our neurobiology to act in a certain way, well, things get easier. And this whole concept of, sustainable well-being takes on a new it takes on new meaning. And so there's some really foundational skills that we practice. And today, it being Monday, I thought I would focus on a mindfulness practice. And I will say, and this is really relevant to me today because right after this session, I'm going to get in my car and drive down to UCSF, and I am getting an MRI of my heart. I know I've mentioned to some of you that I've been having weird arrhythmias. I don't know if it's just aging. I'm 53 years old. I've been a lifelong athlete. Something's shifted in my body. And so I've been on some peculiar medicines. And anyway, long story short, today I'm going to get a full image of my heart. And if you've ever had an MRI before, it's a pretty weird situation, right? You're in this little tunnel, and you're about 6 inches away from the walls of the tube. And I was thinking to myself, this is the perfect example of where me having spent the last, gosh, decade and a half plus practicing meditation and ideally, practicing becoming more mindful, or at least having more access to mindfulness throughout my day, is going to come in really handy. Right. So this is really where the rubber meets the road. So I want to distinguish between the practice of meditation and then the state of mind, or what it means to actually experience mindfulness. So meditation, there's so many different ways of doing this. It's a multifaceted tradition, but I would say, uh, they're basically all techniques. Whether you're reciting a mantra, whether you're sitting quietly observing your breath, whether you're staring at a candle, at the end of the day, they're all techniques that are being used to help us train our awareness of the nature of our mind. Right. So let me just repeat that. It's training our awareness. So we're conscious of, so we're aware that something is happening, and the something that we're focusing on is the nature of our mind. And that's intentionally a vague term, but it basically has to do with, what are we thinking? What are we feeling? What are we experiencing in any given moment? And are we conscious that this is happening, or are we in a kind of trance where things are just happening and we don't know that they're happening, right? And so then in the past, I've mentioned that there are two forms of attention, just broadly speaking. One is the laser focus of a flashlight, which is focused attention, where we say, I'm going to focus on my breath. I'm going to focus on this sound. I'm going to focus on this person speaking. And it's, the band of attention is very narrow. And in some ways it comes at the exclusion of other things around us. Now, the other type of awareness is what we call open awareness, where it's the opposite. It's saying, I'm not going to focus on anything specifically because I want to be aware of the general surroundings of the things that are happening around me. So, sounds, obviously, any sensations. While I'm speaking to this person, I'm also going to be aware of the fact that there are other people around me doing or saying certain things. And so it's rather than the laser beam of a flashlight, this is more like holding a lantern, and you just get the general glow of things going on. And both of those techniques can be used to activate this state of mindfulness, which unfortunately is actually a bit of like a misnomer. It's less about mindfulness and more about sort of mindlessness, right? It's about letting go of just fixating on the content of our thoughts or our sensations, but it's rather just saying, I'm aware of everything that's going on. I don't need to label it. I don't need to make it right or wrong, good or bad. I'm simply aware of the fact that certain things are happening, and I can be with it, right? So being aware of what's happening around you. And the amazing thing is, we can do this all day long. we remember, we can practice to do this. And again, bringing it back to my personal situation, I'm not thrilled about, this experience that I'm having with my health. It's definitely catching me out of left field. It activates worry. I'm in a new relationship, which feels wonderful. And then there's also this, if I'm not careful, there's this part of me that wants to go into victimhood and feel badly and say, oh, just, when you figure this thing out, now here come, all the health issues. And there it is. That's life. And so as I go into this MRI, I'm noticing that there's a part of me that's gearing up. There's all these different parts of me that are wanting to protect myself. I've even thought of, gosh, should I take an anxiolytic so that I can be more relaxed, and my intention is really just to go into it and say, you've been practicing for years and years and years for exactly these types of stressful situations. Just be with what is and just allow whatever happens happen. And that's really, at the end of the day, the best that we can all do in any given moment. But the main takeaway here is, I think everything is practice. So including these difficult situations, but as well as, I think, just the mundane, going to wash your hands or opening up a door, walking down the stairs. Everything is practice and an opportunity for us to connect with this. Am I aware of what's actually happening? Can I just be with it the way it is? Okay, enough said. Let's go ahead, close our eyes, and let's start with grounding. So to me, grounding is becoming mindful of your body and the space that it's taking up in 3 dimensions. So we all have a body that's in contact with the ground somehow, either with our feet or through a chair. It's taking up space. And simply become aware, generally speaking, that you exist, you're in a body, and it's taking up space. And then as you get more curious and open up even more, you realize that there's all kinds of things that are happening to this body. For one, it's breathing. So maybe the question to ask is, how do you know the body's breathing? What are the telltale signs of breath in the body? Notice your belly, chest, your throat. The amazing thing is, this is happening all the time, all day long. Yet it's rare that we actually pay attention to it, the simplicity of it. And there are, of course, all kinds of other sensations going on in the body. I can feel my belly rumbling a little bit. I can feel a tingliness in my hands, twitchiness, and a lot of colors behind my eyes. And the goal here is to just let that happen, just to allow it to happen. And see if you can identify what kind of awareness you're engaged in right now. But focused awareness on a specific body part or experience, or is it kind of open awareness that is just general and makes space for everything? Both are incredibly useful skills to cultivate: the ability to focus on something that is important to you in this moment, or the ability to let go and just allow an expansive experience of everything to be. It usually doesn't take long, doesn't take a lot of silence or space before the mind starts wandering. So when we stop stimulating the mind with our phones or our text messages or conversations, it will quickly latch onto something. It'll start ruminating, it'll start spinning. So just notice what happens if we just give it some space and some silence. See if you can just be with this moment right now. No need to change it, and just watch. Silence is really challenging for the human mind. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just good to notice silence, slowness, stillness. Very challenging. There's a part of us that wants this constant stimulation. And so good to notice. No judgments necessary, but simply this is the practice of getting clear with ourselves as to what's actually driving us, and obviously has a big impact on our moment by moment behavior and how we treat others and how we take care of ourselves. So anyway, hope this was a useful Mindfulness Monday. um yeah, hope to see you all tomorrow, Tuesday, same time, same place, and we'll do something else together. Take care, everyone.